for days. That's why I tell people I'm crazy from the jump. And if you got a problem with that one, then you're not someone I want to hang around. It's a good way to weed out the fake, flaky, phony pansies and people that want to correct me on my grammar or the words that I choose. I'm fine with losing you. There's so many things that I've done. They all made sense at the time, 'cause I was trying to outrun those demons in my mind. Wonder why I'm so self-destructive. Maybe it's 'cause what I have to say is way more important than all the bullshit that most of my country can't stop spewing. This is so loud. Do you hear me banging on them? This is what I'm playing, by the way, in case you didn't know, like, why it sounds like that. It's because it's a toy, okay? It's a toy. It's okay. I play with toys because I'm not a toy for the pharmaceutical companies. Fuck you, Pfizer. Fuck you, Eli Lilly. Fuck you. And no, I'm not a Scientologist, but I probably would get along very well with them. My arm hurts. It does. I need to go inside though. Oh no. Okay. I forgot what my original point was. Did I even have one? Sometimes I think I just make it up as I go along. That's what happens when you got jazz brain. I'm not gonna pretend that I'm fine with the game that you're playing. I'm not gonna pretend that I'm fine with you being controlling. I'm not gonna pretend that I'm fine, all 'cause I need your validation. I trained myself to not need anything from anyone. I've trained myself to provide exactly what I need at the time in my mind. And this is quite a skill to have. They'll never tell you about it, 'cause they don't want you to know that the power is within you. I can't play this fast because it's a toy. Like I have said, it's a toy, so it doesn't really, like the keys will fade out. You notice? I'll show you. Like, did you just hear that? It kind of fades out. I'm just gonna stop. No, what I'm saying is so fucking amazing. Like, if people knew that they had the power within themselves to, like, literally provide everything that they need, like, psychologically, I mean, talk about psychiatrists going out of business, talk about therapists going out of business. You can say, well, that's a defense mechanism, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but it fucking works. It's kind of like masturbation. It's like, once you realize, like, oh, I can just do this myself, why would you fuck anybody? Especially considering, you know, all the risks involved with all of that. Practicality. If more people had that practical mindset. Like, I was talking to this dude last night. I went out to dinner with this guy who is unhappily married. And he has 2 kids with this woman. And she's on an SSRI, so she's not giving him nothing, you know? And, you know, they don't really have a good relationship. And he was telling me, like, really the only reason why they're still together is because of their children. Oh no, he has 3 children with her. My bad. He has 3 children with her. And one of them, she's 9. So, you know, they're looking at that practically. Like, for their children, they're sticking together. But, you know, I was just telling him, like, yeah, I've been alone for a while, and I don't have any interest in that. It's just, why would I just want to be bored or, like, pissed off or annoyed, like, all the time? You know, it's just, like, it's just so not worth it. And he was like, yeah, you're looking at it way more practically than most people in relationships. And you know, so many people have children, and it's not a good situation with the person that they're with, their significant other or whatever, and it's definitely not a good situation for their children. And I don't know, like, my parents are still together. They've been together for a long time. Like, 50 years, dude. They've been together for, like, 50 years. And you think that would be, like, a beautiful thing. But, I mean, my brother and I, we were actually talking about it recently, like, how, like, neither of us have any desire to get married, and it has a lot to do with that. And I probably sound like some snooty, like, spoiled little brat, but, like, I think that we've been lied to about so many things, and one of those is, like, relationships and love and marriage and all that shit. And you see all this now with, like, men saying that, oh, it's a scam, and it was always a scam, honey. It was always a scam. But like I was saying in the previous video, like, you like the lie, you like this idea of, like, being taken care of, you like this idea of, like, this false comfort of companionship, this false comfort of, like, having your children, like, look after you, and that's not a guarantee, especially if you're a Republican, okay? Do you think that any of these, like, daughters of, like, their Republican dads that they don't speak to anymore because of some liberal bullshit that they learned at Yale or whatever, like, or any fucking university? I was lucky to grow out of that shit. I was lucky to do stand-up comedy and realize that I didn't want to be, like, one of those people, you know? And so I started looking more into things, and, you know, there were always people to the right of me that were like, you are not a liberal, stop saying that you're a liberal. And there were always people to the left of me that would get pissed off at the things that I would say because they were too logical. And so, yeah, I should have known. But I still got sucked into it, I guess, because I'm, like, a gayish artist that, you know, thinks outside the box and doesn't adhere to, like, authoritative shit. And I think that most people, though, regardless of politics, adhere to authoritative shit. Like, whatever authority exists in their world, like, they just obey it, you know? And I don't. That doesn't mean I don't respect anybody in authority, but you have to prove that you're respectable. You have to prove that, like, you care, and you have to prove that you can take criticism. And if you prove that that's not true, then I don't have any reason to respect you. Like, you don't have authority. You don't have the authority that you think you do. You definitely don't have authority over me. Like, my priest now, He's so young, and he's the most gentle person I've ever met. Like, he's meant to do what he's doing. And, I mean, I told him that he understands mental illness better than any religious person I've ever met. But, you know, this other priest that I had who passed away a few years ago, you know, like, we got into it because he was being way too abrasive and demanding. Like, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. Honey, I'm not the one. You start barking orders at me, I will fucking bounce so quick. I mean, even if you're right, even if there's like some stuff that you're saying, your tactic is wrong. And if your tactic is wrong, you're not a good person. That's as simple as that. Like, so many people online, like, they're right about a lot of stuff. But, you know, their tactic is very narcissistic and very controlling. And if you're being manipulative, I mean, obviously you're not a very good person, you know? Like, I used to be very manipulative when I wanted things. And, like, when I would get jealous. And I knew the entire time that I was a piece of shit. So, I think it's possible to have that self-knowledge, but still to keep doing the wrong thing. So, plenty of people that I've met in recovery, you know, they'll talk about how, you know, when they were knee-deep in addiction, like, they knew they had a problem, and they knew that they couldn't handle it, but they still kept doing it. You know? It's a lot like that. When you're in that delusion, you get very apathetic, and then you get really self-righteous in your apathy. It's very strange. You know? You're like, no, I'm entitled to not give a fuck. Okay? I'm entitled to be mean. I'm entitled to do what I want, even though what I'm doing is hurting myself and others. I'm entitled to do that. You know, and anytime that entitlement takes over your life, you know, you see yourself as a victim whether you realize it or not. Because you're doing things that are hurting you. And, you know, you might want to control somebody, and you might be right about whatever you're saying about them. But, like, your tactic is wrong. And it's not coming from a good place. And if it's not coming from a good place, then, like, why should anybody listen to you? You're just doing it to sort of fill a void in your life. You know, so it's not about you fixing them. It's not about you, like, actually helping them. Especially if that person doesn't want your help. Then, like, what are you doing? You're making it so obvious that it's not about them. So, you know, I think that people that they might have empathy, but it's coming from a narcissistic place where they're trying to control the situation, and them wanting to help somebody is really just about them wanting to feel good about themselves, or them wanting to manipulate that person into thinking that they're important, you know? And it's because of childhood trauma. It's because, you know, that person didn't get what they were supposed to get from their parents or caregivers or whatever. But it's like, you know, I can't work on yourself for you. You know? So, I've just accepted the fact that I'm gonna die alone, and that I'm, like, better off over here. I'm way better off. And when people insist that I come over with them, like, whenever they're like, no, why won't you come over here? Why won't you hang out with me? Why don't you call me more? Why don't you want to spend more time with me? Because I don't want to. And if I don't want to, like, how could you in good conscience, like, want me to do something that I don't want to do? Like, oh, so you feel better. So you want me to lie to you. Okay, you want me to gaslight you. What does that say about you? What does that say about you? You lie to yourself all the time. I mean, I just don't have it in me, man. Most people do, though. Most people will lie. But that's just too much energy for me. I feel bad about it. But yeah, I guess it depends on the situation, though. But most of the time, I'd just rather walk away. Or I'd rather, like, limit my amount of communication. If it means that I have to lie, if it means I have to be fake with somebody, I'd rather just not talk to them anymore. You know? But, like, yeah. Being alone is so much better than the alternative. But yeah, you can't tell that to somebody that needs to be validated. Somebody that hasn't figured out, oh, I can just do this myself. Did y'all hear that? When I hear animals and insects, like, I am so comforted by that. Because, yeah, I feel so disconnected from the human race. I feel so disconnected from so many aspects of human life. But then I'm like, oh yeah. Like, all these animals are still doing what they're supposed to do. All these insects are, you know, they're just trying to survive, and they trust their instincts. You know, I'm a lot more primitive than most people in my race. My race is, like, the least primitive. And we take pride in that, too, but it's not a good thing. Like, we will not survive. I mean, I don't think animals care about their image. I don't think animals are like, oh no, I look stupid. You know? Like, sometimes, like, my cat will, like, attempt to jump, and then she won't make it. And I can tell that she's a little bit ashamed. But because she's a cat, she immediately forgets. I want to be like that. I really do. I mean, I think that's why I love cats, because they just don't give a fuck. Yeah, I feel a much deeper connection with nature and animals, and I don't like that, though. I would rather like people more, but most people are not that interesting, and they just, you know, they just go along to get along. And this whole idea that, like, America is about individualism, I mean, maybe it used to be, but that's definitely not the case anymore. I mean, if you're individualistic in America, like, people will really hate you. Because they don't have the balls to do that. They want to be validated. They want to belong. And I can't fault them for that because that's just part of their makeup. I just wish that people would stop lying about America. You know? Like, I really believe that, like, in a lot of ways, like, what I do, like, artistically or creatively or whatever, like, I really think that it's for my ancestors, you know? Like, I know that if they had a crystal ball and they could see this future, they would be pretty horrified by what the majority of Americans are doing. They'd be pretty horrified by all these kids that are obsessed with TikTok and 5-year-olds getting put on medications and 8-year-olds thinking that they were born in the wrong body because of their parents' shitty politics. Okay? I'm sure that they would be pretty ashamed. But then they might see me. I'm being so self-righteous right now. Then they're gonna see me with my little flip phone. And all these videos where I'm like ranting about psychiatry. And I'd like to think that, like, there's a reason why I'm here, and there's a reason why I was born in this time. And, you know, I'm not going to take pride in being an American, but it's stupid to be ashamed of that, too, because, like, yeah, it's totally out of my control, so it doesn't make any sense to have either pride or shame about that sort of thing. But at the same time, like, it's still a part of me. Like, my country is still a part of me. I've learned that from immigrants whose countries we've been trained to hate because they're communist countries. So I understand that it's just a place to live. But it's a place that has a lot of history, and most of that history is like we've just been taught to believe, but we haven't really discovered it for ourselves, you know? And if you are in favor of discovering things on your own and, you know, looking up things that will probably make you sick to your stomach, then yeah, you're definitely going to get called a conspiracy theorist, because it's just easier for most people to believe the lies and, you know, whatever they're told about, you know, whatever it is. It could be the country, it could be medicine, it could be, you know, the politicians and what they're doing and saying and all that, you know. So, I don't know. I just don't trust anything. I don't. I don't even trust myself a lot of the time, because I change my mind and I could be wrong about things. I mean, I used to be liberal, so there you go. But no, it's all bad. It's all bad. All is vanity and vexation of spirit, right? But yeah, the more you know, the sadder you'll get. The more you know, the more will depress you and piss you off and make you hate the world. But I'm still idealistic. I mean, if I wasn't, I wouldn't do what I do, hoping to inspire the microscopic amount of people that actually give a fuck.